Good evening to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star. First begin. The height of lawlessness can be seen in La Republique, where those with a mandate to enforce the law are instead those preventing the rule of the law from taking its course. Regardless of the offense of an individual, sentence is solely the prerogative of courts to pass and new trial. If the occupational La Republic forces on the field are passing and executing death sentences to apprehend questioning from any issue whatsoever, then it is evident that they are simply putting into action hierarchy. If a military termed professional successfully apprehends a group, execute them without giving answers for the crimes they committed. What else to say about them? Several unquestioned acts of La Republic's military on a daily basis prove Ambazonians' accusation that it is the of La Republic to wipe out the entire especially the youthful population of Amazonia, from the surface of the earth. In ways, it's the defiance to be elated that has the unity of Amba on the respect of today's ghost town. Let's dive into the food undaunted tonight. More on the news of tonight, but certainly not before the prime.
Here are the prime headlines for today. Zonians have demonstrated more enthusiasm in the respect of Monday loans. La Republic, the Cameroon terrorist soldiers raid a residence, killing the fans at our quarters. Tonight, Zonian Restoration Forces of Bui described a way out for La Republic, the Cameroon terrorists, if they must stay alive. Also tonight, we're going to be looking at the interim government's position on Fundi and also the refugee for the elderly. We revisited that topic tonight. Also, the Department of Women's Services reached out to elderly in 4 settlements. On African reports, we're going to be taken away from the African Union 5-year coordination meetings. And of course, on the foreign scene, we're going to be looking at the NATO summit. All right, now news in detail.
Our vision in this interim government to make ABC a leader and a more of us. We want to grow, expand it higher, and train more hands and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock 24/7 moments of bliss as an ABC Amba TV Club member. Hello. Latest stroke African movies, global ABC news and updates, historical documentaries, and lots in our daily programs. Undaunted, ABC Amba News, into the news, Untold Stories, Opala, and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, edutainment, intro-governmental debates on topical issues with tarping, state of the liberation movement, fronting IG, and people of Ambazonia's position. Struggles weekly update with Secretary Mungwa, PhD, SC. Health is well, health, education, and awareness. Ambazonian community, Dr. Yaya. Liberation prayer and intercessory for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Mba. Our freedom, awareness, and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Mba and Pastor Commando. Church ethics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived political philosophies that limit the Christian in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando. The voice of the Ambazonian with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey. Our Amber history, bringing to limelight the heat of Ambazonia to the world with Commando. A point on community building, education, patriotism with the Amazonian community. Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an imagination dog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with mad. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amba Focus, only on ABC Amba. The people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7, subscribe as a club member on www.ambatv.com/subscribe.
The Ambazonian fight to free from the Shaka Republic to Cameroon assimilation plan is timely given the unity with which the Mondans are being observed. The return of the people of Southern Cameroon to become independent from the colonial Republic to Cameroon is demonstrated in the observation of Monday. The Monday lockdown is a strong point to the fact that there might be divergence in certain approaches within the people of Ambazonia in the fight to us, the Republic to Cameroon. The fire to see Ambazonia unquenchable. Well, today, Monday, July 17, 2023, still being observed after of civilians killing in Bamenda. It's like other previous Mondays with energy to free the homeland, the colonial the Cameroon government occupation forces. Well, this is where we begin the full brief tonight. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, Oni. Monday today, July 7, 2023, in Bamenda, Midlands area in the Atlantic zone of Amazonia, just as in parts of Amazonia, another ghost town. Streets, markets, institutions, as well as La Republic run nations in Amazonia are all locked as I observed the interim government designed Monday lockdown, a move to frustrate the extortion plan of La Republic in Amazonia. The people of Southern Kenya have resolved to give this state the importance it deserves by reorienting their activities to keep, while others occupy themselves Mondays, keeping fit. To others, it is a God-ordained day for rest. The reason one goal for all is to render Amazonia ungovernable by La Republic government. La Republic government, through its surrogates, have employed strategies to fight Monday ghost towns, but to no avail. When the president slave pulled off the council to go over office, he started selling these at very reduced price on Mondays to lure people on Mondays. He equally acquired policies to facilitate movements for free on Mondays. All these moves yielded no fruits and indeed advantages.
Many surrogates to the ruler of La Republic de Cameroon have fought strengths of the Atlantic zone to see them open Mondays. They sealed shops not open on Mondays with all efforts. Monday goes down is very much alive. Well, presently, it's the constitutional officer Chil Mbengui who has embarked selling shops.
There's the colonial divisional officer to Mbengui who has embarked on selling shops to owners to open on Mondays. And it hasn't worked so far. And to embarrass the Colonial Republic administrator, this shop have also vowed not to open their shops on days. They prefer to be locked for rather than disrespect the Monday lockdown. They will soon give up like accessories is what a lot of Amazonians related. At the commander today, it is obvious that the fight for independence moving forward.
All right, moving on. A number of young boys were in the early hours of Saturday, July 15, 2023, assassinated our Cameroon military officers. This act put into question the most professionalism of the terrorist forces of La Republic du Cameroon by the French soldiers working for President Biya. How can a military termed professional so apprehend a group of accuse them and not bring them answers for the law? Well, this is the height of lawlessness in La Republic du Cameroon, whereby those with the might to enforce the law are the same ones preventing the rule of the law its course.
The offense individual a death sentence is solely the prerogative of the courts to pass such a judgment after due trial. If the occupational La Republic forces on the field and executing death sentences to those they apprehend, it is evident that they are simply putting into action an instruction for hierarchy. It's the desire of the La Republic to wipe out the youthful population of Amazonians as they now believe. Amazonians on the night of Saturday were sprayed to death by the colonial forces.
Well, this took place at the Wing Quarter neighborhood in Bamenda, chief town of the Midlands of Ambazonia, during a raid of colonial thugs to La Republic to Cameroon to a resident. While London visited the crime scene a few hours after gathered first-hand information surrounding the killings. The residents in question were the victims of the La Republic de Cameroon terrorist soldiers' killings is an apartment with 3 sleeping rooms. 2 of the rooms have beds, each room has a mattress on the floor. The parlor is empty with no appliances. There were no toiletries or kitchen utensils in the house, while it indicated a house that is inhabited by passively or in person.
The neighbors on Undaunted learned that the original house owner long sold the house and the new owner is not really known. And for the identity of the four young killed, the neighbors attest to the fact that amongst the four, of them is known to be the occupant of the rest, and the other three are not known. The neighbors added they heard deafening gunshots at night. Another clue stated that the colonial forces carried out the killing of the four boys and carried away the lone girl that was with them.
Well, further information reveals that the girl taken away was a hostage taken for junction for ransom. These boys, after the mother was contracted for ransom, she alerted the Colonial Republic to Cameroon forces who launched the rescue operation, killing the boys and rescuing the girl. The boys killed in question have no links to the Union Restoration Forces, but a group of boys have adopted their main survival.
Well, moving on, the Amazonian Restoration Forces have called the large Republican terrorist soldiers to hand over their weapons to the nearest restoration force camp as the only condition to be granted safe passage into neighboring country.
Well, the statement was made by the Boye warriors under the command of Major Do after an operation that the colonial thugs of La Republic de Cameroon only had to run or be sent to the land of where they would not come back.
Well, this is a lofty offer from the ARFs, given that these terrorist republics are simply used by the aging La Republic members of government. Many will certainly wish for immunity from being a tool in the hands of them. So therefore, the Republic military who can still think straight and want to free himself from the guilt of shedding innocent blood will be assisted by the AR into neighboring countries after surrendering their weapons. This offer from the ARFs to the Colonial Republic military This is the Bowie County Situation Report, Friday, July 14th, 2023. It is an offer from a human point of view.
Well, on Friday, 14th July 2023, the Almighty Bowie Warriors, under the command of Major General Chuck, carried out an attack to Getson. The enemy was working at the Colonial Council building in Tachum Nkom area, and the terrorists, La Republic Cameroon elements, guided the building. The La Republic forces on guard ran for their dear lives, while the warriors took full control of the building and set it on fire.
The warriors once again calling on La Republic elements in Bowie and Ambazonia as a whole to hand over their weapons to the nearest Ambazonian forces base and be given safe passage to a safe retreat. We were also calling on the Ambazonian people, friends and well-wishers, lovers of the sublime ideals of justice, freedom, peace, liberty, and independence, to continue supporting them so they can continue to fight the La Republic terrorists until they leave the territory of Amazonia.
Now, the late Frundi's Corps band is being banned from entering Ambazonian land. Well, President Sako, the President of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, Dr. Samuel Likome Sako, has declared July 26 to 28 as lockdown days following the schedule of the funeral program and burial of the late Frundi in his native Baba Chu village, Sancho local government area for that weekend. Well, Dr. Sako's declaration in notes addressed to Ambazonians during the Bowie County War Draft. During his show speech, Dr. Sako regretted that the Social Democratic Front Party, which Frundi headed as chairman, was created in 1990 to fight the southern Cameroon's Ambazonian course of marginalization, subjugation, and many others. Due to greed, Frundi hijacked don't finish to suffer them fine. Well, let's get that.
It has been brought to mind that the political program of the one Cameroon poster and genocide in John Frundi has been published. I call on all members of the court that God-forsaken. He's a brave politician, somehow became the poster boy of a salvation vehicle of the people of Cameroon. True to his Machiavellian and unknown to our vulnerable and assuming people, through the objective of the front, which at that time to take on the sudden cause in the cause of La République du Cameroon's 30 years of annexation and colonization. Unbeknown to the architect of the front, Mr. Frundi had a private business plan in his mind. It was to transform the front from power to the people to people to the power. I don't finish to suffer them fine and sold the vehicle to the highest bidder in Etudi.
The president also regretted that Frundi stood for what the founding fathers had earmarked, the senseless war. Tens of thousands who have lives might have been averted. Dr. Sako accused the government of having the guts to attack the valiant ARFs, calling them terrorists, whereas the boys were fighting the fight Frundi abandoned. For all the blunders of Frundi sacrificing southern Cameroons for money, the President Sako has the corpse rejected in Ambaland by Colonians ancestors and declared Mami Wata lockdown that must be respected to the latter. Well, let's hear it from the president himself.
We are where we are today because of Frundi derailment years ago, of the fight our forebears mounted to redress the annexation of our country by La Republic. If Frundi did not fail us, we probably would have avoided the bloodbath today. To add salt to injury, Frundi shamelessly condemned our generation for doing the necessary. The fight he hadn't because of crumbs from the enemy. To celebrate the man who dropped the ball on us and made a living legitimizing the authority of the annexationists colluded, dined, and wined with our cruel enemy. More than 50,000 of our people are massacred, and more than 500 of our settlements burned down. That will add insult to injury, especially to those of us who have loved ones in the hands of his associates. We call on all Ambazonians to massively boycott the political funeral of John Frundi from the 26th to the 28th of July by observing a total lockdown of Amazonia on all mourners, not to Provozonians. Yesterday, we called Ambazonians. Now he is dead. Do you expect terrorists to give him a befitting burial? The enemy, La République du Cameroon, whom he served, should be obliged to keep his corpse. And if possible, a monument for him in Yaoundé, not in Ambazonia. We are going to shut Ambazonia and teach a lesson to the remaining rookers that even will not be get visa into Ambazonia.
We are seeing a very special exclusive interview with Dr. Martin Mungwa Sako says that heroes are not born, heroes are made and celebrated based on the efforts they made on daily. He says Frundi does not deserve and anyone to celebrate Frundi is a provocation to the victims' families. He also mentioned that Ambazonians should know who has helped, created, and impacted on the people instead. Well, Dr. Sako pleaded that the Ambazonian will not those who try to kill because Frundi, never stood for his people. He came up and scattered the hopes of
John Frundi is heralded as the one democracy to Cameroon. The question I will first ask is, where is the democracy that he brought? Let's show brought that he should be credited for. So that is something. If what we have today in French Cameroon is what he brought, then he is not worthy of celebration. So that's a mistake. Let somebody glory based on the value of what and how it has changed the lives of people. Reagan said that the year's campaign to do is to ask people, are your lives different after 4 years? What is the difference? So show me the difference in the life of people in the system that you call the or democracy. That is different from what it was. If difference, then that's what it's created for. Listen, digress. Heroes are not born. So no hero because of how he was born. Come maybe by the time you die. And in the manner that you die, you can become one. Heroes are made. That's why monuments are not raised for the living. They are raised for the dead. Because chance to go through their lives and find out what they started doing, what they continue to do, and what they ended doing. The end of a thing is more important. It doesn't matter how great, what great ideas you start life with, what great ideas you propounded, how you finish, and how you finish them is how you will be remembered. We will not celebrate those who tried to kill us just because they failed. We will not celebrate those who tried us and just because at the end they failed and triumphed. It's exactly what John Frundi did. He came up and building on the hopes of the southern Cameroonians, and that we wanted a means of canalizing our demand and fighting for our cause and making our voices heard. And we put ourselves together behind this force and the poster boy. Instead of him to drive that agenda, he saw it as an opportunity to become the president of Cameroon. And he failed. And when he discovered it, and he has lost the trust of the constituency behind him, he decided to become the number one person to legitimize the oppressor, the oppressor, the colonizers of La Republique by going into an exercise that he knew was futile, was not going to produce any result. Then he needed to participate for the Bolivia to always emerge as a champion, because a champion without a fight is not a true champion. He had to keep on legitimizing Paul Biya as some legitimate leader by this phony competition and allowing him to pronounce Biya to pronounce himself as a winner after the election. That's what he did. And then when we decided to fight for ourselves, to take up the challenge on our own, seeing that we have been abandoned, seeing that SDF did not do it, it was hijacked by the oppressor under his command. We decided to rise up. Ambazonia decided to rise up. What did he do again? He changed his address to Yaoundé completely, transferred himself to that, and they started engineering everything. Even Honorable Weber had to leave in exile because of him, because he will stand for the people. He will not stand for his people. He instead engineered the government of La République du Cameroon to kill our people, to go to Nigeria to abduct our leaders, and asked the United States to round up some of us that we are criminals, we should be arrested. It's a shame. This man is a disgrace in our history. For anybody to celebrate him now as a hero is a provocation to the victims and the families that have buried their thousands, that he purposed to be killed by advising his friend and bedfellow, Paul Biya.
Now, in the month of June in 2023, the Department of Women of the Federal Republic of Amazonia carried out a fundraising for the elder refugees following an outcry by Honorable O'Malley. There were two parts of this celebration. The first part was the general celebration, which involves fun time, party, match, football matches, and sharing of food and household items. But let's take a look at this part.
All right, and that will give to you on World Day Refugee. And now for part two, which we are looking into today, a set of funds were generated. Now, the interim government, led by President Samuel Ikome Sako, and the Department for State Services, headed by Dr. Patience Abiedu, and some donors were able to raise a total of $2,800. Now, thanks to the generosity of the donors, including the Ingi local government area and other comrades who want to, be anonymous, this particular project was successful. Well, you can see the elder properly taken care of to them specially. Now, this section are different from the first section, which you saw the younger people who just fun day, filled with so much excitement, filled with so much energy, filled with fun activities and some food items that were shared. Here you have most of the elderly ones. Let's say the elders who cannot act as the younger people. And so this was an idea created the Department of Women Services, and I see the cash gifts were given to them. The interesting part of this particular journey for us is that um, they were excited. You can see the mother dancing with so much excitement, and this so much more the internet will give to everyone once we get to Boya. Now, a total of $900 was given to Honorable Mali to coordinate the outreach to the refugees in Okende settlement and also other settlements. Now, let's watch this journey for yourself. You need to feel the excitement too.
all the partners, all the well wishers, all the supporters. May God bless them. Now, so mommy the time. Una go save the food.
It's okay. It's no chop fine. You know, yeah. I mean, eating well. You buy small chop, yeah. We're gonna chop. We're gonna only be long again, yeah. But the best small chop. You.
Come on, Paulina. That's how we don't go farm, right? Now she go. Good. It's okay.
It's a land.
I don't care what you do.
The best small chop, yeah.
But not. And you answer Grace.
Long again, small.
Grace.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maggie, how to move? I mean, thank you. It's okay. Ozuo?
Thank you too, as you I mean, you can't let go of
No fun. Envelope home, I mean.
You open.
Yes.
Thank your God.
Oh,
Thank
Mama.
your God.
Oh, Mama.
What did he see?
Oh,
What
Mama.
did he see?
Oh,
What did he open?
Amen.
90.
I mean, go buy small chop.
I salute everybody.
Oh,
Well, this one a bit like now some dream way with the refugee for that country with the Siam. We know we don't know say this kind of thing if it, this kind of chop if you meet up with, then we don't be surprised. Even though as well we just so for here, we don't chop, but we don't flop. We thank that people where they send so with this Gary, we thank them plenty. Say make God bless them and God make it put them.
amen.
Okay, the envelopes were not enough. It's okay.
Mommy, a small,
Now, shishi.
na small chop way application for you, yeah? And I bring them. What I say?
Thank my picking plenty.
Hold on, fine, though. Let us
Hold on, fine.
I will find.
Buy small fish, buy small younger. You begin make small chop, yeah?
All right.
Oh, Mama.
And these are the kind of excitements we want to see from now going on. I mean, less of the killings and more of the excitement, the prayers, joy, the thanksgiving, and the satisfaction. Let's look forward to next year's Refugee Day. I'm sure that the interim government would plan something much more explosive than this. Well, kudos to the interim government led by Dr. Samuel Ikomisako.
And onto the African scene, the African Union convened the fifth mid-year coordination meeting of the African Union, the regional economic communities, the regional mechanisms, and the African Union member states on the 16th of July 2023 in Nairobi, Kenya. The meeting convened under the AU theme of the year 2023, Acceleration of African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA implementation. The meeting was preceded by the 43rd Ordinary of the Executive Council, which took place from the 13th to 14th of July 2023.
Well, the African Union Commission, the AUC, and the United Nations Development Programme launched the African Facility to Support Inclusive Transition. On the sidelines of the Fifth African Union, the Media Coordination Meeting in Nairobi, Kenya, on the 15th July 2023, the AFSIT are providing support to countries undergoing complex political transitions and countries at risk. In May 2023, African Union heads of state and governments reiterated a zero tolerance stance against unconstitutional changes of government and called for collective action developing a robust mechanism for deepening democracy and collective security continent. In response to this call, the AU Commission and the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, joined efforts to launch the AFSIT, an innovative initiative aimed at providing comprehensive programmatic support to African countries undergoing political change.
Well, high-level speakers at the launch event included His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Kori Singh Principal Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Kenya, representing His Excellency William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Dohir Dokama, Minister of Foreign and International Cooperation, in charge of Diaspora and Francophony, representing His Excellency Azali Asumin, President of the Comoros and Chairperson of the African Union for 2023, and Ambassador Mohamed Tiao, representative of the Republic of Senegal and Chairman of the Peace and Security Council in July 2023.
Bankole Adeyu, AU Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, said in his welcoming remarks, he said EFSIT is a practical and pragmatic, pragmatic mechanism geared towards boosting the capacity of all actors in the democratic governance space. It is a facility to capacitate those who will as watchdogs for democracy. Now, Ahuma Ezawa, UN Assistant Secretary General, UNDP Assistant Administrator, and Director of the Regional Bureau for Africa, said the facility calls for a refocus on development, including good governance, human rights, as to basic services such as education, healthcare, as a critical means to not only prevent coups but also sustain peace. This is particularly crucial in regions like the Sahel, which face a heightened risk of coups.
Well, the primary objective of AFSIT is to assist in the development of credible, inclusive, and legitimate roadmaps, mechanisms, and institutions, ultimately leading to the restoration of constitutional rule, democracy, and stability in relevant countries. AFSIT exist in AU, regional economic community mechanisms, the REX/RMs, and UN instruments, as well as initiatives by development partners to ensure inclusive transitions. The facility will proactively anticipate, respond to, and address complex political crises within AU member states.
Well, the implementation of AFSIS will occur in phases, with initial priority given to addressing UCG as defined by AU norms. This will encompass responses to military coup d'etats and instances of process manipulation. AFSIS will also extend support to at-risk countries teetering on the edge of a political crisis, as identified by early warning signs and data from the AU and the AU member states, including members of the Peace Security Council, representatives from the UN, the AU, the REX, the RMs, as well as respective bilateral and multilateral stakeholders participated at the event launch.
Now, summarily, the Executive Council has elected and appointed members of several African Union organs. Elections are held in adherence to equitable geographical and representation. To be duly elected, the candidates must attain two-thirds majority votes. The African Commission on Human and People's Rights, ACHPR, is an organ of the AU headquartered in Banjo, the Gambia, entrusted to lead continental efforts to protect and promote human and people's rights and interpret the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The following members were elected and appointed as commissioners to serve for a period of 6 years at the ACHPR. Professor Remy Ngouilumbu, Democratic Republic of Congo, re-elected for a second term. Ms. Salma Sassi Seifa, Algeria, Mr. Essam Hatem, Tunisia, re-elected for a second term. Ms. Maria Teresa Manuela, Angola, also re-elected for a second term.
While the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption is an autonomous organ of the AU that plays a key role in promoting and encouraging the adoption of measures and actions by state parties to the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption to prevent, detect, punish, and eradicate corruption and related offenses in Africa. The following members were elected and appointed to serve for a period of 2 years on the board. The members who take office in October 2023: Honorable Martyr Dakagwam from Chad, re-elected for a second term; Mr. Principe Nsemuse from Burundi; Ms. Abebe Emiela Amgante from Ethiopia; Mr. Chaika Baba Ahmed from Mauritania; Mr. Erika Senolo from Botswana.
Now, the African Union Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, ACERWC, is an African Union organ mandated to monitor the implementation of the African Charter on the rights and welfare of the child, as well as promote and protect children's rights in Africa. It is a continental quasi-judicial body tasked with children's issues. The following members were elected and appointed to serve for a period of 5 years: Mr. Ghislaine Roche Edzan, Congo Brazzaville; Miss Sabrina Gahar, Algeria; Miss Poloko Nogert, Swarang, Botswana.
While the African Union Commission on International Law is an advisory organ of the Union mandated to strengthen and consolidate the principles of international law and to agree on common approaches to international legal developments, AUCIL also works towards maintaining standards in important areas of international law. The following members were re-elected and appointed to serve for a period of 5 years: Mr. Calvin Ferdinand Njiba Gabon; Ms. Samina Buruba Algeria; Ms. Sinduso Kumalo Zambia; Milian Didier Olinga Cameroon.
Now, the African Union Board of External Auditors audits the accounts of the AU to ensure efficiency of the financial management system, including accounting, the internal controls, and in general, the administration and management of the organization, especially regarding internal liaisons between the various authorities responsible for the framing, preparation, and administration of the annual budget. Libya will join as a member of the Board of External Auditors, BOEAs. As that's about it for the African Union fifth mid-year coordination meeting, and we hope the elected and appointed live up to the task assigned them.
Well, on the foreign scene, this week's NATO summit in the Lithuanian capital of Vilnius provided a valuable reminder that during a war, the battle for communication is as important as anything happening on the ground. On its own terms, the summit was a success. The main goal in Vilnius were to reach an agreement that Sweden could join the security alliance, which Turkey had blocked, and to strengthen support for Ukraine.
Both of those goals were achieved, and in the case of the agreement on Sweden's membership, it was a not insignificant milestone. But officials at NATO HQ in Brussels have expressed some frustrations that much of the coverage focused on the specific issue of Ukraine joining the alliance. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been pushing for a clear path to join NATO for some time. He wanted more than just a restatement of the existing vague expression of support for Kyiv's membership of the bloc, arguing instead for a clear timetable to accession.
Western officials, however, hopes that the issue would not be the focus of this week's summit. Zelensky's maximalist position was understood to be a way to ratchet up the pressure, but they say he would have known that the summit would not have been the moment he got his way. That hope turned out to be misplaced. On Sunday, US President Joe Biden gave a news-making interview to CNN in which he said Ukraine could not be admitted to NATO while the war was raging on in its territory.
Now, nothing he said was particularly controversial, nor did it depart from the prevailing view in NATO. Most allies agree that Ukraine is not in a position to join while it is under invasion. There are many reasons for this, but the most important is that membership would immediately give Ukraine the right to invoke Article 5 of the NATO treaty, which would force the rest of the alliance to join Ukraine in the war against Russia.
But the timing of Biden's comments on the eve of the summit and his position as the leader of the most powerful NATO state meant that the question of Ukrainian membership was front and center at the alliance convened. While it is that Zelensky sent a blistering tweet criticizing NATO as absurd for not offering a clearer path to membership in his joint communique on Tuesday. Well, on the sports tonight, let's join Gab Ellison in the sports studio.
Latest world sports. Football. Lionel Messi. Inter Miami unveil Argentina forward to sold out crowd. New signing Lionel Messi has been officially presented to cheering crowds at Inter Miami's DRV PNK Stadium. A sold-out crowd of about 20,000 waited through downpours and lightning to see the seven-time Ballon d'Or winner giving a number 10 shirt. In a brief address in Spanish, Messi, 36, thanked supporters and said he had the same desire he always has. The World Cup winning Argentina forward joins the Major League Soccer club on a deal until the end of 2025. He will be reunited with defensive midfielder Sergio Busquets, with whom he played at Barcelona, who has also signed for Miami until 2025. Busquets too was formally unveiled during Sunday night's event. Messi entered the pitch via a huge catwalk and was introduced as America's number 10, the world's best number 10. Seven-time Super Bowl winner Tom Brady and four-time NBA champion Stephen Curry also welcomed him to the United States in video messages. "I really want to start training to compete," he said. "I have the same desire that I always had to compete, to want to win, to help the club continue to. I am very happy to have chosen to come to play in the city with my family, to choose this project, and I have no doubt that we are going to enjoy it a lot. We are going to have a good time, and very good things are going to happen." The DRV PNK Stadium in Fort Lauderdale in Inter Miami's temporary stadium and has a capacity of 18,000, making it the joint smallest in MLS, along with San Jose Earthquakes Payback in California. A temporary grandstand has been erected to allow more fans into the ground. Messi left France Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the 2022-2023 season after scoring 32 goals in 75 games across a two-year spell. He turned down lucrative offers from other countries to play in the US, and this is the first time he will play for a non-European club. Inter Miami co-owner David Beckham hailed Messi's signing as a dream come true. "Leo, we are so proud that you have chosen our club for the next stage in your career," he said. Inter Miami's primary owner, American billionaire George Mack, called Messi the best player ever to don boot. Messi is expected to be available to play for Miami against Liga MX side Cruz Azul on 24 July in their opening match of the League's Cup. He with his soccer and Argentina boss Gerardo Martino after the 60-year-old was appointed manager in June following the sacking of Phil Neville. Women's World Cup 2023. Australia criticized disparity and questioned bargaining rights. Australia's squad have criticized the gender disparity, cup prize money, and the fact some nations do not have collective bargaining rights. All 23 Matildas players featured in a video posted by the Australian Professional Players Union, PFA, 3 days before the tournament begins. The squad also called for all the players in Australia's A-League women to be fully professional. Australia are co-hosting the Women's World Cup with New Zealand. 136 footballers have of representing their countries on the biggest stage this tournament, said Australia and Everton midfielder Claire Wheeler in the video. Western Sydney Wanderers Claire Hunt added, "Yet many are still denied the basic right to organize and collectively bargain." Midfielder Tameka Yalop said, "Collective bargaining has allowed us to ensure we now get conditions as a soccer rules, with one exception, FIFA will still only offer a quarter as much prize money as men for the same achievement. The total prize pot for the Women's World Cup starts on Thursday is $110 million, £84.1 million, a 300% increase from the 2019 tournament, but significantly lower than the $440 million, £336.4 million pot for the men in Qatar here. The A-League's minimum wage for players increased from $16,344 to $20,608 in the 2022-2023 season and is set to rise again in the 2024 campaign to $25,000. The league includes 12 teams with a regular season from November to April. The top 4 teams then play in semi-finals, a final to determine the champions. Sydney FC's Courtney Vine added in the video, "Players in the A-League are still pushing to make football a full-time career, so they don't have to work part-time job. We had to." Football Australia CEO James Johnson said of the video's release, "We were aware of the video going out, but we weren't concerned as Football Australia at all because we know that our program is world-leading and we know the PFA players agree with well. FIFA-wise, the increase in money doesn't get to where I think we are in Australia, but it's improved. There is room for improvement." Speaking at the FIFA Congress in March, FIFA President Gianni Infantino, "Our ambition is to have equality in payments for the 2026 Men's and 2027 Women's World Cup. This is the objective that we set to ourselves." FIFA is stepping up with actions, not just with words. Football's governing body have also said its ultimate aspiration is for equal prize money, and we are on that journey. Equal pay has been established in cricket. National Cricket Council announcing the milestone on 13th July. The Matildas exercised their collective bargaining rights in an agreement in 2019, which gave them the same percentage of tournament prize money as the nation's men's. This came after the women's team took strike action in 2015 for better pay. Australia are not the only team to speak out on equal pay, with England in a bonus dispute with the Football Association. The governing body has reportedly said it will lioness performance-based bonuses, with England defender Lucy Bronze calling the situation frustrating. The Matildas video echoed the Karen Carney report, with England International saying the women's game could be a £1 billion industry. Carney added nationalizing the game and raising standards is the biggest issue in the. Gab Ellison reporting from Undaunted, BBC Amba News.
And thank you so much, Gab Ellison, for that sports report. And with the sports report, we've come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, let's take a look at our major stories.
On Undaunted tonight, we brought to you Ambazonians who demonstrate TCI same in respect of Monday ghost towns and Amazon of independence by public terrorists raiding and killing occupants of a resident of a house. The ARFs also offer green leaves to La Republic terrorists if they want to end the killing of people.
Well, tonight on Undaunted, we gave you the interim government's position on Friday. Also tonight, we gave you the outreach for the elderly part 2, where the Department of Women's Services reached out to elderlies in for settlements. On the African scene, we took a look at the African Union 5th Mid-Year Coordination Meeting. For instance, we told you about the NATO summit in the Lithuanian capital. In sports, talk to you about Inter Miami unveil Argentina forward to sold out. And that was it for tonight. So bringing news on George Terrace. On behalf of Star Smart entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in.
Leave you with ABC and the TV images. Good night and God bless you.